Hey, so welcome to Deep Stretch, everyone. As I mentioned on the chat, please have some props with you as best you can, whatever you have around your space, especially we're going to be using blocks today. So I want to show you a few things that we'll be doing in the practice, just so you get a little preview. So don't do this yet, but in a moment we will get started in a reclined position. And then a few things here. So after we center, we'll do our 6 movements of the spine here on the floor. So that involves just a little mini bridge pose. You lift the hips just a little bit, scoop the tail, then plant the sitting bones back down to the earth, creating your own low back curve. So finding your own range of motion. So it's going to be this movement for cat and cow. Then from there, our side stretch is going to be like this. And you can just reach out more with your hand towards your foot if you're trying to get a deeper stretch. And then from there, our twisting motion is just going to be a little windshield wiper movement. And then we'll play with adding the arms a little bit. So this just gets the upper body moving into the twist as well. So that's one thing we'll do. And then one other thing that we're going to do, even though this is a stretch class, part of stretching also is strengthening and activating. So we're going to work with a variation on bridge pose. You can use 1 block or 2 blocks for this. Or again, a book if you have it handy. Basically what's going to happen is that both of your knees are going to be bent. You're going to put one heel on your block, and then from there it's a lift of the hip and pelvis. It's not a super high bridge. From there, the opposite leg comes up. You can always pulse down, take a moment, then rise back up. So this is a strengthener for the hamstrings and the whole back line of the body. So we'll play a little bit with that. And I'll guide you with a few more details there. Okay, so that's the basic gist of the things that we'll do, and then lots more. Come into a reclined position to start out and make sure to support yourself. So if you need something under your knees, or you can always bend your knees and rest one knee on the side of the other for a little bit more support. And settle into the ground. Make any little fidgets, movements. Take a deep breath in. Open mouth, release the breath, let it go. Relax your eyes partway or completely closed. And take time here as much as you need to land and arrive into this time that you've carved out to be in your practice, to be in your exploration of movement, of breath, of simply being. Welcome all of yourself here to the practice, however you're showing up. If there is lots of ease for you in physical body and the mental experience, or if you're finding a little bit more tension, fatigue, more of a busy mind, negative mind, and honoring where you're at. And gradually take one hand to your abdomen, the other hand to your collarbones. Begin to amplify your breath. Take time as you inhale and expand. Notice your whole torso energizing into motion as air flows into your lungs, creating expansion. With the exhalation, as air is pressed out of the lungs, letting everything soften down. And take time to invoke and cultivate this 3-dimensional breath pattern, Especially being on the ground, you might notice your back body moving a little more here with the breath. Sides of the ribs expand with every inhale. And with the exhalation, softening. And take a few more rounds here with your deep breath. So this opportunity to begin in a reclined position actually allows the spine, shoulders to get neutralized, especially if you've been sitting most of your day already. Compressing the low back, rounding the shoulders. Opportunity here to create some return to balance. And as you stay present to your breath, opportunity to set a little focus, direction, intention for your time here. It could be as simple as calling in something that you want or need more of in your life right now. A quality as simple as peace or healing, connection, ease, strength, openness, space, forgiveness, kindness. So what's one or two things that you can use more of? And to affirm this in each other's company in the virtual space, take a breath in. Let it go, open mouth. And gently from here, with your inhale, sweep your arms above the top of your head. Take a full body stretch. Press out through toes, through fingers. If your knees are bent, you can keep them bent. Stretch the upper body. If the legs are elongated, make any little movements. Lots of length. One more inhale. Exhale, release your arms by the side of your body. If your legs are extended, bend your knees. Heels about 5 to 6 inches away from sitting bones. And with your inhalation, it's a gentle lift. Scoop your tail deeply as the hips rise just a little bit, rounding the low spine. With exhalation, bringing sitting bones to earth. Move the pelvic bowl in the other direction. Lots of low back curve to your own degree. Cow stretch. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to lower. Move with your own breath and rhythm here a few cycles. Final round, when you round, lifting upwards, use your exhale, return sitting bones to the earth, bring your low back more to a neutral space. Gradually take your right hand underneath of your head for support. Inhale, lift a little bit of your head and shoulders, left arm to the side. With exhalation, arc over to the left side. Create a little scrunch through your left side body. Exhale to scrunch, inhale through center. Exhale to scrunch, inhale to center. You might feel some elongation through the right side of your body here. Final cycle, also a little awakening for the core. Once you're middle, switch sides, left hand to the back of your head, inhale breath. Exhale, arc, little C curve over to the right side. Use your breath. Final cycle here. Inhale through middle, exhale, relax. Your head and arms down, separate your feet, mat distance or just a little wider. Start to windshield wiper your legs side to side, creating a little movement for hips, low spine, Then to add more of the twisting motion for the upper body, next time your knees are over to the right side, take your left hand, move over as if you were reaching something way over to the right side, opposite way, as if you were reaching over to the left, and continue side to side. So head lifts just a little bit for this stretching motion. You can even alternate supporting the head if there's any neck tension here. Final cycle. Wherever you're at, return back to a middle space with the arms by the side of your body. Inhale to bend through your knees. Knees in line with hips. Lift your feet out. So it's 90-degree angles from hip to knee, knee to ankle. Pause there. Activating through the core. Start to circle your ankles in one direction. And gradually circle in the other direction. So honor if there's any heat building that's starting to occur here. You might feel something happening in your legs, hip flexors. Notice if circling your ankles one way or the other feels a little more odd, interesting. And gradually pause wherever you're at. Activate through your toes. Sustaining here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. Left knee to the earth. Bring your right knee in towards center. Start to create gentle knee circles. The circumference is based on what you're feeling in your body. So this movement is actually originating at your hip. So allow that to be the prime movement. Gradually release opposite direction, working with some joint warming up for the hip socket. And gradually pause, lower right foot down to the earth. Inhale, your left foot off of the ground. One hand or both onto your knee. Create little knee circles here, honoring your own range of motion. Stay with the breath, listen to your body. And circle in the opposite way. Gradually pause back at center space. Both feet down to the ground. Take just a moment to feel and notice anything that you're aware of in your hips. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale to let it go. And from there, lift up and take your time to adjust through for your block out in front of your space. We'll start with the right foot on the block. Place your right heel onto the block here, arms by the side of your body. Keep your knee already bent, both knees bent. With the inhalation, lift your hips and pelvis towards the sky just a little bit in a active bridge pose. Exhale, lower your hips back down, sitting bones to the ground. So you might also just feel enough activation right there. Inhale again, lift up. Anchor your heel into your block quite strongly. That's going to fire up through the whole back line of your leg. Stay right there. Or if you need the next layer, start to lift your left foot off of the earth. This can be a little tap dance, forearms, shoulders, activating down. So the hips don't have to be super high for you to feel the activation for your hamstring here. And you might feel the glutes. So either just left foot to the ground or a little tap dance, or sustain left foot to the sky. Honoring any sensation here for 3, 2, 1. Exhale slowly. Release everything down. Use your foot to slide your block over, switching to your left heel. From there, anchor left heel down, forearms, shoulders press. Inhale, gradual lift, hips rise just a little bit. Continue to anchor into your heel. This might be enough. If you're not feeling enough in your hamstring or calves, probably means that your block is a little bit too close to you, so move it further away. And again, check in, is this enough? Or tap dance through your right foot off the ground, then back down. Simply pause and sustain here. Deep connected breath, honoring the activation through the back body. Wherever you're at, playing here for 3 more rounds. 2, 1, use an exhale to land back down to the earth. Bring both of your feet to the ground. Take a moment to notice, feel. And from there, hug your knees towards center, roll over to one side in a fetal pose, hand to the ground. Gradually take a moment or two to lift yourself up. Adjust onto your mat, tabletop position. Even if you feel like you don't need support, the knees are sensitive joints, so add a little bit of added layer, flat, to support your knees. Tabletop position. With your in-breath, extend your right leg out to the side. If your wrists are tender, come onto fists or forearms. Start to circle through your left hip. So similar to what we did on the ground. Honor your range of motion. So bigger circles are not necessarily better. It's really what you're feeling in your body. Circle in the opposite way. And from there, gently release, right knee down to the earth. Inhale to float your left knee out to the side, start to circle. Check in with the difference on this side. And circle in the opposite direction. Stay connected to your breath. Notice what's going on in your mind. So if there's lots of distraction, bring your focus back to your body, sensations that you're feeling in it, as well as the anchor point of your breath. Next time your knee is towards the earth, release it. Inhale, draw your hands to your thighs, rise up, kneeling position, circle the arms up to the sky. With your exhalation, open out wide, create little wrist circles. From there, land back down to the earth. This time, angle your fingers towards your body. So depending on what's happening in your wrist, the angle of this might shift. So it does not have to be fingers straight back. The angle could be a little bit open or more than a little open. So check in where you're best supported, especially if you've been typing a lot. There might be some tension in the carpal tunnel. This might be plenty. So stay right here and breathe. If you need a little bit more, you're not feeling enough, start to shift your hips just a little bit back behind, and this should amplify what's happening in the wrist and the forearms. It could also be a little rock. Inhale, out of sensation. Exhale, move back into a little bit more sensation. And final cycle here, if you're in motion, to draw into the stretch. Wherever you're at with an inhale, shift your weight forward, release your hands back through center. Once again, breath in, hands to thighs, lift up, circle the arms high. With the exhalation, squeeze through your fingers, little circles. Shake it out a little. And come back into a tabletop. With your in-breath, sweep your right knee and hip to the side. Take one circle one direction, and one circle in the other direction. Next time your knee lifts to the side, pause here to sustain. As best you can, 90-degree angles, but it's totally fine if that's not happening in your architecture. Flare through your right toes. Deep breath. If you're leaning way over to the left, see if you can counterbalance, returning a little bit more to center. So this will fire up through your hip, your glute. Stay with the breath. Exhale to release your knee down. Inhale to switch. Left knee floats out to the side. Create one circle one direction. Reverse circle in the opposite direction. With your knee out to the side. Pause here, 90-degree angles as best you can. Stay with the breath, noticing what you're feeling on both sides. Inhale, breath. Exhale to return your knee down to the ground. Inhale, palms rise to your thighs, circle, sweep the arms up to the sky. With the exhalation, again, open wide, create little circles with your wrists. Shake it out a little bit here. From there, returning back to tabletop position. Inhale to extend your right leg back behind. Give it a little stretch. Press your toes back. And once again, a few little ankle circles here, one direction, and then the other direction. Inhalation. With exhale, release your knee down to the ground. In breath to stretch out, press out through your left toes. And then begin a few ankle rolls here. One way. And then the other way might feel a little awkward in one direction. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release your knee down to the ground. From this place, ensure that your hips stay in line with your knees. Take your hands out in front quite a bit for a stretch. Palms can go wider, so it depends on what's happening in the shoulders. Slowly dip down. Head comes either to the ground or to the support of a prop. So you can slide a cushion or a block underneath here. If your head is hanging, please avoid this and fill in the space. Stay active, press your fingertips forward. At the same time, press your sitting bones back. This is a similar action to down dog. So activating with strength, but also elongating for the whole spine. Soften any holding here through your mouth, your jaw. Staying with this just a little bit longer. Active fingers forward. Sitting bones, press back. Elongation through the whole back line of your body. Use a soft inhaling breath. Bend at your elbows, hands come towards you. Rise back up, tabletop position. From there, swing your hips to one side. Extend your legs out in front. Point your toes for a moment. And from here, rebend your knees, feet come a little wider if you're using a mat width distance. And once again, gentle little windshield wiper movements. And with the inhale, as your knees rise up, pause here, take a supportive seat, however that looks like in your body. Use a prop to create uplift for your spine. And from there, take your right hand out in front, left hand wraps around the forearm just below your wrist and create a very gentle tug towards you. So you're pulling the flesh of your forearm towards you. At the same time, stretch your fingers forward. So literally inviting spaciousness here through the carpal tunnel. One more deep breath. And with the exhale, relax. Take your left hand thumb to your right hand and give yourself just a little feel, gentle press, and a little massage of the palms. Sometimes we're holding a lot of tension there. And gradually take your thumb to the little bumpy point on the right thumb base, so on the hand. It's a little part that's a little elevated from the center of your palm. Create a pressure point, press down there. And from there, gradually cross your thumb over towards your little pinky finger. Do this 5 times. So it's an inhale out, exhale, little cross. Inhale out, keep the pressure, cross. Inhale out, exhale, cross. 2 more times. And from there, return, release, shake it out. Opposite side, wrap your right hand to left forearm, tug towards you, press and open away from you. Stay with the breath, giving the body this attention. Notice what's happening in the mind, if there's any labels about this practice, the speed of the practice, how your body is responding. Opportunity to come back to this moment. One more breath in. Exhale to gently release. Take a journey with your right thumb, exploring the left palm. Just feeling out areas that might be tense, tender, little gentle massage. And from there, once again, thumb comes to the little bump area below the left thumb. Add some pressure there and gradually cross towards the pinky finger. Inhale, exhale, 4 more times. And gently release. Shake out again both hands. And from there, come off of your seated prop. Have your whatever you're using as a strap. If you don't have anything, no worries, give you options. And then once again, return your block to the original position we were using it at under the right foot. Take a moment, gradually recline to the earth, revisiting our little hamstring activation here. Bring your right heel to your block, ensure there's a bend, forearms, shoulders, back of the head, press a little bit. Inhale to lift your hips and pelvis off of the ground. And this might be plenty if you're feeling it in the calf, your hamstring, stay there. Otherwise, option to layer, foot can tap dance on the left side, or pause and sustain. Stay with the breath. Exhale to gently release. Slide your block over towards your left foot. Left heel plants. And from there, explore. Inhale to lift. Hips and pelvis. Anchor your heel into your block. Check in what's activating and firing here. Explore the layers that you need in your pose. Mindful of the low spine. Tap dance option always there for you. One more deep inhale. With the exhale, lower back down to the ground, both feet on the earth. Take a moment, observe, stay curious. From there, grab your tie or something like a tie, extend your right leg skyward, wrap your tie around the big toe, little toe ball edge, ball mound edge of both feet. Ensure that your low back can still have even a little tiny bit of space on the ground. If you don't have a tie, interlace your hands behind of your right hamstring. Right knee can always be in a little micro bend. To invite the activation in the stretch, it's just a very gentle tug down at the same time. Foot presses back to the sky. Bend in the knee, always welcome. If you're not feeling much there, start to move your leg towards your body, towards your head rather. And then from there, press your hamstring away from your head. So in these stretches, we're working isometrically, and this is intentional. So we don't want to just yank the body into an extreme range of motion stretch. So this creates opening while still creating some muscle activation. Stay aware of what's happening in your body. One more breath in here. With your exhale, use both ends of the tie to your right hand. Begin to open your leg out to the right side to your own degree. And still keeping a little tension here. So it's the same motion, the little drawing of the tie in towards you, but the foot is pressing out into the tie. So stay super aware if this becomes too intense. Don't go as far out. You can always slide a prop underneath of your thigh. To breathe into the side line or inner line adductors. Might feel the hamstrings here as well. With inhalation, lift your leg back up to the sky. If it's available for your low back, extend your left leg long onto the earth. Otherwise, maneuver around it. Slowly move your right leg over towards the left side. The angles varies here for every person. So take your time to explore where you're feeling just enough stretch, not over the top. Feel free to make any little micro motions in your stretch. Check in whether your attention is here or somewhere else. Opportunity to bring it back if you've drifted off. On a sweet breath, draw your leg back up to center space. Start to bend your leg. Bring your left foot back down to the earth. Happy baby pose, half variation. Right knee comes a little bit out to the side. It's a gentle tug down at the same time. Foot presses to the sky. Final breath. Use an exhale to disengage, relax. Extend both of your legs long onto the ground. Take a moment, soften through your whole body here. See how much ease you can invite, especially the right leg into. Observe any contrast between the sides. With an inhale, lift your left leg up to the sky. Bend your right knee to support your low back if it's not super happy with the leg extended. Make any little explorative movements to start off the stretch on this side. And begin to use just a little bit of arm strength. Tug your foot in the direction of your body. At the same time, press your foot back into the thigh. Micro bend in your knee, always welcome. And checking in with any other posture options here that serve you. Remember, you're still staying somewhat active as you stretch. And as you stay aware of what's happening in your leg, welcome in some softness through your facial muscles. So often tension can creep up and build up throughout the day, whether it be because of physical environment or the thoughts beginning to weigh. Bringing awareness, inviting more ease, one more breath. On exhale, take both ends of your thigh to your left hand. Begin to explore. Open your leg out to the left to your own degree. Does not have to be all the way to the floor. Finding a balance point. You're getting just enough. Still a sweet spot. Not any excessive yank on the leg. Fill in spaces with any props if you are being called for a little bit more support. Use an inhale to lift your leg back up through center. If it's available for your low spine, extend your right leg long onto the mat and cross your left leg over to your own arc, your own angle. Might find a stretch here at the IT band side muscles of your leg, glute. Noticing when is the place to pause. Welcoming any sensation of stretch, still ensuring that there's a little bit of engagement in your leg. And with your inhalation, lift your leg back up to center, bend your knee. Half happy baby pose, right knee can bend as well. This can often offer a little bit more support, gentle tug of your leg towards the earth. At the same time, foot presses slightly back up to the sky. Relax any tension through your cheekbones, temples, forehead. Final deep breath. Exhale to gently release. Once again, both legs extend long onto the ground. Take a moment to notice and observe. With an inhale, gradually bend your knees. Heels about 5 to 6 inches away from the sitting bones, and grab your block. Ideally do this with your feet if the block is not within arm reach, so you don't have to get up. If you are getting up, roll over through a fetal position to grab your block. And from this place, anchor both of your heels down to the ground. Arms activate, so lift your toes off of the earth. Palms flatten, shoulders press, back of the head presses. Inner leg strong, so as if you were hugging your block. Inhale to lift. Squeeze through your glutes, rise up into a little bridge pose, again with the feet, with the toes off of the ground. So it's a heel bridge pose, just a little bit of reactivation in the muscles. Have your block handy. One more deep breath. With your exhale, slide your block or book underneath of your sacrum. Choose the height level that feels most cozy. Land back down, rest through your feet. Disengage. Invite softness through your body. And staying in this supported bridge pose. Notice any reverberation that you feel in your lower body, wrists, forearms. You can stay right in this place, or if you want to amplify your inverted experience just a little bit, one foot lifts, then the other legs can rise to the sky. A little micro bend in knee is welcome if the hamstrings are in tension for supported shoulder stand. One more inhale if your legs are lifted. And with your exhalation, return your feet back down to the ground. Take a moment to pause. And re-energize here, feet press to the ground, forearms, back of the head. Inhale to lift hips and pelvis, slide block out. Exhale to lower back down. Take a moment here, again, to pause, to let the body readjust. And from there, make your way into the final posture. Knees can always stay bent, or extend your legs long, let your legs be heavy. Arms spacious. If you have something to cover your eyes, go ahead and utilize it. And giving yourself this time, this opportunity to pause, receive, rest. Allow the layer of your skin to be spacious, supple. Envision your muscle tissues unwrapping and unwinding from any remaining unnecessary tension. Allow your bones to be heavy, completely held by the ground. Relax your neck at the front, back, sides. And soften through your jaw, ears, eyelids, eyebrows, forehead spacious. And simply being here. And I'll return back in a little bit to guide you back out. And very gradually become more conscious of your body here. And if you do have some added time to continue resting, go ahead and stay as you are. Otherwise, with your breath in the background, allow for gentle waking motions with eyes and facial muscles, head, neck. Any other movements with your arms, feet. With the inhaling breath, bring your knees to center, roll over to one side or the other in a fetal pose. And from this place of gratitude, press a hand to the earth, rise back up, take a seat with your eyelids soft, spinal column long. The hands connecting in front of heart center. You can also place one palm flat at the heart and the other hand on top of that. And take note here of anything that has moved or shifted for you through your time of exploration, movement, breath, strengthening, stretch, awareness. And to affirm yourself for carving out this time, each other's company, and also the qualities, intention that you called in. Gently bow your head to your own heart. Celebrating your wisdom, your strength. Namaste.